The tech for this podcast was produced by Truth Digital. Truth Digital is the sister company to Cochrane & Co. We work in the same office, we drink the same coffee. We do websites, marketing, paid ads, social media, SEO, and all of the other things that will get you new business quickly and efficiently without the bullshit. Check us out, truthdigital.co.uk, or check us out on socials. All handles are Truth Digital. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you here again very soon. Paul, welcome to the UK Flooring Podcast.
Thank you very much, Tom.
First question, who are you and what's important to you?
Paul McMaster. I have a flooring business with my business partner, Richard Lockie, just down the road in Bishop Auckland, Carpets and Flooring to you. I've been in the flooring trade for 27 years. I've done retail. I've done wholesale. I was with wholesale distribution with Headlam for 16 and a half years. And I had a spell with Abingdon for about 2 years. And then we went off to start our own business.
And what's important?
Peace of mind, time wealth. That's it, really.
What does that look like? What's peace of mind and what's time wealth?
But this is getting deep, isn't it? They're going deep early, isn't it? What's family, time with my family. Being happy at work. I'm very lucky to work with a pal of mine. So Richard, my business partner, is a pal and has been for a long time. Just time wealth, I guess. Spend time with my family and. Yeah.
So you opened the flooring shop to get more time, haven't you?
The beauty of having a business partner, so we are going deep to start. The beauty of having a business partner is, especially one like Richard, who's a great lad and a pal, you can afford to be that little bit more time rich, if that makes sense. And you'll know yourself, if there's two of you,
yeah, you
can walk away from the business without having a panic of, oh no, I can't leave my business. Yeah. Me and Richard were joking about the other day, saying we'd be rich if we didn't have each other. But we're seeing so we do. We are that bit time rich. Richard's a keen golfer, so he gets to go and play golf. I like to go over the lakes and do a bit of walking with my little boy and my wife. It balances well. Having a good, reliable friend and business partner really does help you be time rich, I think.
And what was the moment when you opened talk me through when you either had a job and then you decided to open a shop? What was that transition? How did you go from A to B?
The long way around it was. So I was with Headlam for 16 and a half years. I didn't really expect to leave Headlam the way I did it. It didn't end the way I'd hoped. I was a bit unhappy towards the end. And I was very lucky that Steve Byrne had made a call to me and asked me if I'd be interested in working with him at Abingdon and having a chat with Colin Brown about maybe joining them and their sales team as they were looking to expand their sales team. Went there, fully intended to be there for a really long time. Loved Abingdon, as far as companies go, brilliant. As a salesman, if you want to work for a company that wants to sell product, Abingdon's the best company to work for. They were fantastic. Really didn't expect to move on. Thought I'd build a career in Abingdon, and in Victoria Group. And then I guess COVID kind of changed things a little bit. If Richard, so my business partner Richard, his dad had a shop in Shildon.
Brave.
Yeah, very brave. Yeah. So he had a shop in Shildon. Richard was looking at a driving ban, if I'm honest. So he was a sales rep for Furlong, so he was looking at a driving ban. So he kind of needed to look for alternative opportunities.
Yeah.
So him and his dad saw a site in Bishop Auckland. They moved down to Bishop Auckland. And then in the meantime, they built that business, and kind of my head got turned a little bit there because I thought, well, this is convenient. It's 5 minutes away from where I live, and I love the lads, Malcolm and Richard, good friends of mine. And at that point, I started to think about retail and how my life would look if I wasn't travelling all the time. And back to my Headlam days, there was a stage where I was away from home a lot. So 3 or 4 days in a hotel, I didn't want my life to go back to that. Saw how comfortable and happy they were in that. I took the decision really to approach the lads and say, look, I want in. Is there an opportunity? Took the opportunity. Malcolm retired a few years ago, so me and Richard bought Malcolm out a few years ago, and that was really my journey to retail. If I'm honest, I didn't have any grand plan of it. I was never one of these reps who thought I'd have my own shop one day.
Yeah.
It was just after COVID, came back and didn't feel the same, and 6 years in is probably the best thing I've done.
And what does the shop look like on a Thursday afternoon? What's like fitting teams, products? What's a day in the life in Costell Bish?
The Monte Carlo of the Northeast.
Yeah.
So how do we look? So we're mainly fluffy. We're first and foremost, we're mainly fluffy stuff. We do LVTs and laminates, but carpets is our main interest. Don't do commercial, bit of polyvelour, but really we stay away from the heavy commercial side of things. There's me and Richard in the shop. We have Dennis, who's our estimator, who's a retired carpet fitter, been fitting carpets 50 years. So he helps us out and does the measures for us. So me and Richard are always in the shop when he's not off playing golf and etc.
No, no.
And I'm not walking, yeah. I'm not walking or doing the school run. We have Lynn, who we took in. So Lynn, who is our accountant, she was with Solmia for 30 years. I think she was at Solmia. She was at Solmia when it was an independent company. She worked for my dad.
Right.
So we approached Lynn about 6 months ago, 3 months ago. She joined us as our accountant, so she's in the office. And then fitting teams, we have 3 carpet fitters, and we have 3 teams of carpet fitters, a hard floor fitter, and our LVT fitter as well.
And do your customers pay you for the fitting, or do they pay
Subcontracted, pay the fitters direct.
Okay.
So we will tell them what to expect payment-wise, and then they pay the lads on the day. That was a conscious decision from day one. That's the way we wanted to do it.
And what do you think? I mean, there is definitely some VAT things going on, which we'll go down the rabbit hole if we go, so I'm not going to go there. Because some of the big stores are getting the knuckles slapped. I mean, cost-wise, obviously, Bishop Auckland isn't the most affluent place. It's a lovely place, but it isn't.
True.
It isn't.
No, we got that conversation.
It's not Altrincham. Do you think that'll ever change? Do you think, could you ever see yourself doing a full supply and fit package, or do you think it's just not where you want to go?
Not where we want to go. Where the business is now, we are very, very happy with it. We just talked there about making mistakes and stuff. We've learned a lot over the 6 years. When we opened up, I used to say to Richard all the time, really, we're carpet salespeople playing at being businessmen. Over the 6 years, you kind of learn more and more, and you make mistakes and you pick it up. I think probably when we got started, you have that youthful aspiration of, well, we'll open a couple of more stores and we'll evolve and we'll get bigger and we'll get bigger and we'll get bigger. As we've gone along, we've realised that we've got a brilliant site where we are. We've got a really good business. And I think all we'd be doing by growing the business that way would be eating into our time and our focus on this brilliant little spot that we have. Like you say, it's not the most affluent, but we do a little bit of everything. We had Amtico in, we tried the high-end stuff. Wasn't really our market. We did have a go at it, but that was something that we learned along the way, that when you can buy a house for £30,000, you're not going to sell a whole lot of Amtico in that area. It's got its nice areas around it, don't get me wrong, but you still do have the little mining villages, and you've got to make sure that you're catering to those. You've got to kind of make sure that you can offer to the people with the £500,000 houses, but equally with, the £30,000 terrace houses. That's kind of where you've got to be with that.
And what would you say, 2 other lessons that you've learned since that you didn't think you would have learned since setting the business up? If you'd look back now, is the 2 key things that you
There's hundreds. Never mind 2, there's hundreds. I think back to the ambition thing, don't look at that as a negative. So like I say, when we opened, certain towns and certain sites, I'd always thought, oh, that'd be great to have a business in. And I kind of think, I'm glad I didn't make that decision and glad I didn't stretch when I couldn't. So I think reining in your ambitions isn't a bad thing. That's something I learned. Another thing I've learned is don't be afraid to make a mistake. We put the Amtico in, and this isn't anything against Amtico, a fantastic business. Really, really helpful. But you pay a lot of money for the stands. They dictate where they go in the showroom. There was a lot of constraints with that, but that wasn't a bad thing. We played it by the book. But then we learned that really it wasn't our market. We couldn't get the numbers to justify that. That doesn't mean Amtico's a bad product or it's overpriced. It just wasn't for us. It was an expensive experiment. It didn't work, but there's no bitterness towards it. It was a good way of learning, really. And yeah, there's too many really, Tom, to say.
The good ones. Yeah. An interesting you said there, which I remember things that people say on podcasts, or that we've had the privilege of having a certain owner of, I won't mention names at the moment, but people might know who it is, who has a Northeast brand of carpet shops, who owns those big 30 stores. And we were talking about opening another shop. And one comment he made to a group of my clients, he said, 3 shops, you'll have no time, no money, and it's the biggest pain in the ass ever. If you have 5, so you can make it work. So you need to commit to opening 5, not 2 or 3. And I'm like, and just thinking about it, thinking, hang on, like the question was, would you open another shop? Like one, I've got 1 shop, but I'm going to go for 2. His mindset was, you commit to open 5, completely commit. And I'm like, that's bold. That, but aspirations and, hey, so once you get to 5, you can make a go of it. But making 3, you're buying a problem. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's
I think the guy you're talking about is probably one of the wisest guys around. Yeah, I'd certainly take advice from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having dealt with people with multiple stores, this is the great thing. A great thing about being a rep before you do retail is you get exposure to other people's, I wouldn't say mistakes, but experiences. So they would tell you tales. And a good friend of mine, he had a couple of stores. And I remember speaking to him when I was a rep. And he said that. He said, should never have expanded. He said, because I took my eye off my key business. So my main money earner, I was too busy fighting fires at other stores, and I took my eye off the main prize. So I do think there was something to be learned from that. But I think, and I don't think it's a bad thing, as salespeople, we're blue skiers. The first thing you think of is, what's the ultimate goal? You can't help it, can you? As a salesperson, the first thing you think of is, what's the best thing I can do here? What's the ultimate thing to do here? But again, I'd never rule it out totally, but I couldn't imagine taking my eye off what we have. And back to the original question of being time rich. We've got a lovely balance in our business where financially we do okay. We're time rich because we can spend that time. Richard likes to go to Florida and taking time out. I'll take a week off here and there. You can leave it knowing that your partner's got you covered. No matter what happens, they're always going to have your back. When you've got 2 extra stores and you get a phone call saying Steve can't come in because he's poorly or his dog's got to go to the vet, you either close the store or you've got to split yourself between the 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it would have been a big jump. And again, reining back my aspirations hasn't been a bad thing. It hasn't been something that kind of I thought I'd battle with as much as I have.
No, I think the one thing we've touched on the podcast before is about this thing about choice. If you want to open 5 stores, that's a choice, and open 3 or whatever. But you've got to know how to deal with it. But there's a lot of people running businesses that feel it's not a choice, so they're in at 5 o'clock in the morning. They're working past kids' bedtimes and all that, and they're literally telling the kids and the family this is not a choice. It's like, no, it is a choice, but they don't want to face up to that fact of like, I'll never forget that I used to work 6 days a week all the way through my eldest was at school and everything. And working on a Saturday, unless we were on holiday, in Florida or Magaluf or wherever, working on a Saturday is not a choice. I remember when we shut our store down and I'm sat in bed on a Saturday morning, I'm literally like holding the fucking bed going, what day is this? It felt like I had gained another day, but honestly, I'm looking at a Saturday thinking, I could go and do the big shop. I can wash the car. But I'd done 12 years of this mindset of Saturday is a day for working.
Yeah.
And then that day I was like, I don't have to go in on a Saturday. And then from there, again, I could work Saturdays if I want. Sometimes I might come in here at 5 on a Saturday morning, but it's a choice. But if I want to go, and I think that the value in that's outweighing it, it's
the time freedom we have today. Before I've come here, I've gone in for an hour, and I didn't need to go in. If I'm honest, I just went in for a chat with Richie. But it's nice that you can go in and dip in and out as you like. But I always remember growing up, me dad did flooring as well. My dad was involved in the flooring industry, and my dad was he was a. So basically, my dad had Solmia down the road. His business partner at the time, Simon Oliver, they were building a wholesale business. And as you know, wholesale distribution is extreme, isn't it? It really is extreme. And I barely saw my dad for a lot of years. I did, but it was fleeting because he was always working. He was always grafting. I'm lucky, I guess, that I've seen that and thought, I don't really want to go down that route. I don't really want to be that person who's always flying about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not so long since, maybe about 7 years ago, as daft as it is, me and my dad went to get a curry. So we're down my dad's house in Wales, and we went to get a curry. And I said, come on, we'll go into town and we'll pick it up. And my dad turned to me and he said, I'm so glad you've learned what I didn't. I'm so glad that at your age you've learned that doing that and being a workaholic, and it's not as important as you think it is. It isn't. It's not the be all and end all. And I am quite lucky in that frame of mind that I've kind of seen my dad do it, and I've learned that from him, that actually time's more important. Spending time. We've just been talking about the kids there coming into work and helping you lay the floor. I'm very lucky that my little boy loves that carpet shop. He loves it, and he'll quite happily on a Saturday, Dad, can I come to work with you? And he'll just sit in the offices and play. And it's very, very.
Got him selling carpets.
He probably will, to be fair. Yeah, he'll probably follow us down that road. I think a lot of people in this carpet trade are a second generation or third generation, aren't there? There's plenty of that about.
Yeah, a lot of people fall in through, that's how Sarah got involved in the flooring industry, or come and help me with my paperwork, and then.
Well, on that point, going back to that, exactly what you said about your little lad who's 16.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're going to do, you'll just follow whatever Pat's put in front of you, don't you? If you're 16, you'll wait. If your uncle's a carpet fitter and he needs a hand, that's what you're going to pursue, isn't it? You're going to follow that. So I think that's a lot of reason why people are second generation, is they've probably left school at 16 not knowing what they want to do, and followed the parent down that, or the relative down that route. And you do this industry, for all the years I was repping, and you'll have been the same. I bet most of the businesses you dealt with either had a family member working with them, or had a business that was related to that business.
Exactly.
So it is. I do think that's why it's very hereditary in this trade.
I think it's the bit I can't get with my son. You came to the Flooring Awards last year, and he worked, a 14, 16-hour shift like everyone did. And we thought he was going to fall off the wagon at about 4 o'clock, just lose interest, lose focus, and just go into a puddle. And he did the opposite. He was up at 7 o'clock, and he was all the way through to 12 o'clock. And even, I think, 11:45 at night, he said, look, I'm going to bed, I'm off. Got up in the morning, having breakfast with him. He said, Dad, that was one of the best days I've ever had. I'm like,
yeah, good day now.
I'm like, well, do you want to do more of it? He said, oh, yeah, probably. I've not heard anything since Christmas. But the fact of, he's got something there, but and that's why I think we're letting it flourish. He needs to make that decision himself. If I push him down right, you're going to get in and start doing this and doing that, in one way, it might be the right way to go, but another way, I'd rather he made a decision going, tell me a bit more about this, Dad. Show interest, and yeah, I think that's a better way of doing it.
I think that's the best way with kids, and my little lad's only 10, but it's that, let it happen natural. So I'm football mad. I love football, and I'd love nothing more than to take Archie to football on a Saturday, Sunday, through the week. He's just not falling into football. He's all right with it, but he just doesn't play.
Yeah.
So we take him to watch Bishop Auckland. We follow Bishop Auckland home and away. And he'll go to the matches, and he doesn't bother, but he hasn't got into the playing side of it. I took him. He didn't like it, but rather than forcing it upon him, I'll let him make his own decision. If he wants to go down that route, he can, but I'd never get to the place where I force him, because I believe he'll resent it then. And it's the same with business. If one day he's 16 and he doesn't want to do flooring, I'm not going to push him down the road. I want him to make his own choice and find his own passion. It's just kind of by fluke that I got so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Although my dad was in the trade, I got into the trade by accident. Do you want the whole backstory?
Let's have it.
So I moved to Scarborough with my mother. She lost her dad, so we moved to Scarborough for a period of time. And I went for a job as an apprenticeship, retail apprenticeship, at boys department store.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know it?
Yeah.
So with a department store, the first thing you do as an apprentice is you work all of it. So I was in haberdashery and DIY, furniture, and eventually I ended up on carpets. So it was just by fluke that I ended up in the carpet department. I moved back I actually lived in Darlington for a little bit. I moved back to Darlington about 6 months later and got a job with Story Carpets. So I kind of stumbled into the whole, I'm in carpets now.
Yeah.
But the passion of it, the people of it and all the rest of it is where I really got passionate for it. And it wasn't forced. It was just, if you're a people person, you like people, and then you follow the crowd and you get involved, and that's kind of...
most people love carpets as well. Yeah.
You do, yeah. So, yeah, that was kind of the way I fell into it, really. I think my dad being in it was an added bonus, because then you've got something in common with your dad and all the rest of it. But it was. I'd never say to anybody, follow a career in carpets. It's the way to go, It's just you stumble upon it, and then if you're passionate about it, you'll stick at it. And the more passionate you are, the better you'll become at it.
What do you think? Like anything, as long as you've got the passion and not. I was in a hospital the other day getting a scan, and I was listening to the receptionist and the nurse talking, and it basically came across this receptionist had been with the NHS 10 years or something like that, but she basically said she cannot move jobs for like 3 to 5 years because of her pension, but basically said she despises what she does. And I'm like, I know a pension's important, I get it, and I know she might lose from her pension, but you don't know what's around the corner. And she was just literally saying she's going to stick it out for another 5 years, not enjoying what she does, so she gets a pension. But it's like, I mean, she might get to a pension, enjoy a pension, that'd be fine, but she might also get run over by a bus, or might lose a family member that changes everything, and she might not be able to work. But like, it's mad that you think, well,
I think if you're asked around, I think a lot of people will enjoy what they do, but even if you went to the pub with your pals, a few of them would tell you that they've got the golden handcuffs on. And funny enough, you talk about why we opened the shop. One of the bits of advice that I got to, and I don't think he realised what he was telling me at the time, but I went to see a retailer, a customer, as a rep, and he mentioned golden handcuffs. And I'd said to him, I said, do you ever regret? Because this guy had a fantastic career, took a massive risk to do what he did, but it had been very successful. And I'd said to him, he's a friend of mine as well, and I'd said to him, do you ever regret it? He said, oh, I regret it. I regret not doing it earlier. I was like, wow. He said, I had the golden handcuffs on. He said, yes, it was very easy to say, oh, well, I earn all this money. He said, but it wasn't where my heart was. And I made the choice. And his conversation about those golden handcuffs, honestly, I came away from that, and that is the point, the exact point where I thought, yeah, have I just got the golden handcuffs on? Is this what I'm really passionate about doing now? And yeah, that was kind of what led us to what. But it was that one bit of genius that he said about the golden handcuffs that really did change my perspective. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people who feel like that, who are so happy with the money. Is it what your passion is? But it is. It's a huge risk, Tom, and money is very important to people.
Yeah, well,
it's very important.
I've got a personal experience with that when I was repping an agency, and we built it up to a significant level in such a short amount of time, and money wasn't a challenge. Let's just put it like that. But what was happening was, and I'm still good mates with the lad I did it with, I was building someone else's business, and something just switched, and I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
I'm getting all this money, and I wouldn't. Did I feel like I felt like a bit of a fraud because I was getting all this money and I was still getting the results, so everyone was getting paid, but I was taking the money and thoroughly not enjoying it. And I give my 90 days notice. I said, I'm out. Like, I'm out. He's like, I'll give you more. And I'm like, I don't want more.
Yeah,
like,
it's not about...
it's literally... And so I went from, let's just say, well into 5 figures a month to 0. And we actually called it in 30 days. So I got paid for 60, but I went within 30 days. So I went from this, like, oh, I can go on holiday, I can do this, I can do anything, to 0. And I still don't regret that now in any capacity. But it was like, this just doesn't sit well with me. It just doesn't sit. Like, I'm going into customers, I'm getting out of my car, and I don't enjoy it. But it was like a light switch. I'm with my wife, Sarah. She was like, "You're right. You're absolutely off your tits."
Yeah,
like,
I had a conversation like that with Laurie. Yeah, funny.
Yeah.
You want to do what?
Yeah. No one just goes, I'm out. Like, well, no, like, I am out. Sure, you were in last week. I've not really been in for about 6 weeks. 6 weeks. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. Like, and then I had the conversation. It just escalated to like, no, we're not doing 90 days. Like, if you're out, you're out, mate. I'm like, oh, I'm out. But brilliant decision. It's.
I think it is a brilliant decision, but it's so hard getting there. When I left Headlam, I thought I'd be at Headlam forever. I honestly did look at that as a family business, which is mad, really, when you think how big it is. But I loved that business. I loved all the people in it, and I honestly had been quite happy being there for the rest of my life until the end. And the last couple of years were really, really sad, to be fair. Really, I was angry at first, sad that I left, and the way that I left. But even when I got the opportunity to get out, I can't lie, it did, because you're that in love with the business, it was like, I'm sure I can, if I just wait this out, I'm sure there's an opportunity and this, that and all that. But I was lucky enough to take that opportunity to join Abingdon, and it was a great nerve. And honestly, I can't tell you, and I might have fallen out of love with the repping side of things, but working for Abingdon, I'll say this all day long, that was just, I fell back in love instantly with it. As soon as I went there and realised just how much they want to sell product, that was like the early days of Headlam again. I was just so in love with the job. And it's sad, it's a job, but if you're happy in the morning and you can get up and you can be excited about going out, it is the best job. And I think repping as well, it is the best job in the world. Me and my dad talk about this all the time. Where else could you be paid to go see people who you like to see and spend time with people who you like.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? Me and Dad say this all the time. It is the greatest job in the world.
Talk about things that you like talking about.
Yeah, what we do. We might talk a little bit about carpets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you do. You're servicing people, you are being good to their business, you're helping their business, but it was the greatest job. You go talk to your pals on a daily basis, and I loved it. But back to your point about the golden handcuffs and, making that decision to leave, when I did leave Headlam, that was probably the saddest I've ever been, is having to leave that business. I was gutted about that.
But then you look back and it could have been the best thing.
Oh, it's the best thing that could happen. Where I am now, I wouldn't change for the world. I genuinely wouldn't. But at the time, you don't quite see it like that, do you?
No. The Northern Flooring Alliance.
Yeah.
Give us a bit about that, because I'd seen it kicking about, and then it was only obviously like last year, last year, that you actually told me the actual proper history of it, of the shirt and the tie and the
and
like, it was
a big deal back in the day.
I don't even know if it exists anywhere else in the country, that type of thing. So
the only one that's left is Yorkshire and the North East. So the North East Flooring Association has been going over 60 years, and back in the day, obviously well before my time, it was very much Axminster companies, and it was a big dinner do, and it really was a big event. They did golf days, etc. When networking was more face to face, which obviously it isn't now, it was a brilliant event. As I got into it, I think my first memory of it would have been about 20 years ago, and it was at a hotel, and it was shirts and ties, and it was guest speakers and a priest blessing the meal, and you had to have your jacket on, but you could take your jacket off to eat. So it was still, back 20 odd years ago, it was still very much this formal event.
Yeah.
But like anything, as the Axminster companies kind of faded away, it went down from possibly 150 to maybe 60s, the amount of people that would attend. So it was very much in the last throes when myself, Danny Bell, Chris Lamb, Ken Bain, I think Mark Ponton came to the first event, first meeting to change it. So we decided that we didn't want it to fail, to fade, to disappear. So Mick Parker, who'd ran it for years, Mick had done a cracking job, he'd been a part of it for years. We had a chat with Mick and said, can we modernise it? Can we just see if we can get the numbers back up? And we all got involved and decided that we'd loosen it up a bit. And we changed it from a hotel and a chicken dinner to a Chinese Oriental restaurant in the centre of Newcastle with a casino next door. And it was very much come in your jeans and T-shirt and have a few beers and, a lovely meal. And it's been brilliant. We've probably done it now for 8 years, maybe longer.
So just once a year. Everyone gets together. It's open to anybody in the trade. It used to be more table-based in the sense of we would approach Headlam, Carbon and Flooring, Corma, Abingdon. We'd offer them the tickets first. They'd buy a table and then they'd bring guests. Yeah. Last year was fantastic because of what's obviously happening at the minute. Entertaining isn't company's key priority. No.
So it was more individual led. So we went from maybe 130 to 96, I think we had last year. But of those 96, most of them were there on their own accord. Yeah. You weren't brought by anybody. They just came along because they heard it was a great night. We have a singer on. We have, it's a really nice event. It's a networking event. It's really relaxed. It's a nice chance to see people who you only see probably once a year. And yeah, it's really good. And on top of that, we've got the football as well, which I'll mention because we've got that on Saturday. So we run a football tournament as well. So myself, Matty Jowers, Danny Bell, Chris Lamb at the start, Stewie Rawlinson, Stewie?
No.
Stewie Rawlinson. Who else am I missing out there? Anyway, we do a football tournament where 7-a-side, we get a place up in Newcastle, we have a 6-team tournament, really good crack. It's 3 hours of football, and then we have a few beers afterwards. And it's really good. But again, it's flooring based as well. So it's everybody from the trade coming together to have a kick about. And yeah, it's really good fun.
And you've got who are the teams?
So we break it into regions, but as time's gone on, people start to steal each other's players, and it's got very agents, fees, and all the rest of it now. But I think we've all won it at some stage. Danny Bell's Newcastle won it last year. But yeah, we get good support by that. So yeah, very much look forward to the football. But the Northern Flooring Alliance, we don't kind of force it down anybody's face. It is just a relaxed There's no membership. It is a case of if you want to get involved, just get involved. It's good crack for people who like carpet people like me.
Yeah, just come and have a
come and have a Chinese.
No, it was a great night. I have some podcasty questions. If I gave you £1,000 now, for the business and for personal, so I'm going to give you £2,000. What are you going to spend? £1,000 on the business and £1,000 for Paul. What are the two spends? You've got to spend it by 5 o'clock. All of it's got to be gone.
That's a good question. In Darling, there'll have to be drugs, wouldn't it?
You can get much and go with.
What would I spend £1,000 on? I don't know. Laura could find a use for it, so I'd probably just give it to Laura. I'd just give it to Laura. She'd find a way of getting rid of £1,000 personally. For the business, again, a hard question that, Tom.
You can't give it to Richie.
He'd love it, to be fair. He'd do it with that. I don't know. Probably, have you ever seen our Wavy Davy or not? We've got the big inflatable man.
I think I have. Yes, I have. Yes.
So I don't know if people know that Wavy inflatable man. Yeah, we've got Wavy Davy, but unfortunately he tears a lot. So I'd have 3 Wavy Davies. That would do as well. I'll have 3 Wavy Davies, and the personal one. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you, Tom. I wouldn't even.
A weekend in the lakes. Yeah.
A weekend in the lakes would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be a nice cabin. £1,000.
For those people listening to who are involved with the football, probably football kits. I've got an unhealthy obsession with buying football kits. So yeah, probably buy us all brand new football kits. Yeah.
Love that. If you could start the retail business again, what's one thing that you would do completely different?
Start that business again. What would I do completely different?
Set up in a brand new town.
Oh no, I love Bishop where we are.
So that's where you go. No, staying in Bish.
Yeah. What would I do? What was the question, Tom? Read that again. If I was to do it again,
if you do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Probably be a little bit more savvy around the media side of things. I know we talked about marketing and media, and there are a lot of people out there who would happily sell you a dream and not deliver on you. So I'll probably be a little bit more savvy towards that. I think I had a very naive attitude when I came into it that, I'll just do a bit of Facebook advertising and I'll do this and I'll do that. And we've probably misspent a lot of that. But back to what I said to you before, we're carpet people playing up being business people. And those are the lessons that you probably learn the most from. It's painful when you lose a few £1,000 to, not get what you want. But it's also the way that you turn around and you go, well, I know that for next time. And yeah.
So a reverse engineer the question, what's been the best money you've spent on getting customers to the shop?
Best money I've spent.
Or even best action. How have you got people continuously come into the shop? What would be the number one? If you set up in another town, what are you going to repeat to get them customers coming in?
Do you know, it would be service, which might sound a bit twatty, but it is service. A lot of our business, I would say, would be repeat business. And dealing with businesses like we have, like I said, about the rep and the rep experiences, a lot of the businesses that I dealt with didn't advertise heavily because they've been there a long time. To use an example, the likes of Mulgrave Carpets in Hartlepool, fantastic family business where people were just, you'd go in and they were always busy. But in my experience, they weren't chucking loads of money advertising. They just looked after people so well. In Hartlepool alone, Brabner, again, another family business that just looked after generations of people that had kept people coming through the door. And that's just like one town, if you like. So I guess with us, it is service. Service is key. If you look at our reviews, they are high because we make mistakes, but we make sure we always put them right. We are very conscious that if something goes wrong, we want it to be right because we want that repeat business. So with us, it is very much, I think, word of mouth and repeat business. We've got a good location. We're just down from a retail park. So we're not in a terrible location at all. I guess a lot of people see us that way. Facebook advertising. But in general, yeah, I'd say a lot of our business is word of mouth and repeat business.
That's right. I had a chat with a guy who owned a shop in London this week. I won't mention names, but great business, 30-year established, very well known, very good reputation, and his sales had dropped, his margins had, his profit had dropped, and I wouldn't say he was scratching his head, but he'd done what he's always done, and sending quotations in quite a formal way, and very sort of old school, which worked, but what's happened is someone had set up down the road as well, maybe new kids on the block, and taking this bit of business away. And I think that's the dangerous bit, where someone sticks to what they know and then go, and it's not about spending money on advertising, but if your service levels haven't come up to 2026, and having those sales conversations, to me, over you come from a sales background, but some people that are running a shop have not come from a sales background. They've come from off the knees, and if they're not trained as salespeople, and up the road you might be a better flooring shop, hands down. But if someone can sell in a pleasant, non-salesy way, I think that's what's hurting people at the moment. And just a few simple things we looked at of what questions you're asking. I'm just saying, do you want to go and look around? People, there's not many people that can walk into a carpet shop and just look around, because you don't know what you're fucking looking at.
No, you're 100% right.
Yeah, there's 94 grey carpets in most carpet shops. It's like, I said, I'm not asking you to sell anything. Just ask them how they're doing, and ask them, what flooring are you looking to put down? Like, what room are you looking to put flooring in? Like, ask a question like that, because that's not a yes, no answer. And then say, tell me a bit about the house. Like, show an interest. They say, oh, that's a really good question. I'm like, well, I know, but just go and look around my shop. Like, we're not in Asda picking up coffee. It's like, you need a little bit of guidance without the pressure. And that's where a couple of sharp bits, if you don't pick up on it and someone comes in on your street, you're like, oh, hang on.
That's back to the salesperson in you as well. I think you've got to be a type of person to be comfortable enough to have those conversations with people, to not feel like you're pressuring people. We tend to acknowledge everybody as they come through the door. So the first thing is, morning, how are you? You okay? Yeah. As open as, I know you just walked through the door. Do you want to have a look in peace, or do you want us to help you at all?
Yeah, no
It's
headlock.
that kind of, no. But again, a lot of people are put off by salespeople anyway. So, and if this gentleman hasn't come from the sales background, it is easier just to stand back and go, if they need me, they'll shout me. And yeah, every business is different like that. I think also with the selling side of things, and coming off your knees and being a carpet fitter, the ones I've dealt with are incredibly knowledgeable. But not always, knowledge won't always get you the order, if that makes sense.
They jump in, that's what they do, is the customer comes in and they jump in, like, with the technical side.
Yeah.
Like, do you want a wool? Do you want this? Do you want, like, I've just walked in.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, I'm going to give you everything I've got. I'm like, don't give them anything.
There's a difference between telling and selling.
Yeah.
And a lot of salespeople, and I've done it a million times and more, don't know when to shut up.
Yeah.
Don't know when to stop talking about a product. Funny enough, me and Richard have just had the conversation this morning, and Richard's brilliant for keeping me in line. Because I am an emotional person and I like to talk a lot, if you've not noticed, Richard is very much the yin to my yang. He'll very much bring me down. And funny enough, we're talking about Click LBT, which we've had some bad experiences with, and we don't like to push it. And I'd said to him, we're talking about stock on certain lines. I said, would you ever look to stock a Click LVT? And he said, no, because every customer that comes through the door, you tell them how shit it is. And I hadn't even realised, Tom, that I'd been doing it, because it was subconscious. I just talk that much that he's like, oh yeah, he said, I heard you yesterday with a lady, and I switched her on to stick down. So it wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
But he said, there's no chance I'm putting a product in here when you're talking people down on it. Yeah. And I hadn't even realised I'd been doing it. But that's back to the selling and telling. Straight away, my things were the warning signs with Click LVT. Don't get me wrong, it's horses for courses, and anybody who's into Click LVT, I'm not saying it's a terrible thing, as long as you're well informed on how it's done. Yeah. But we got bitten, so we were I'm subliminally that cautious about selling it that I end up telling people about all the problems rather than actually, that's maybe not suitable. This is a brilliant product, have a look at this. And I've been doing sales for how long? It's just these little bad habits that you sometimes get into and not knowing when to shut up.
No, I know. Well, I think I would agree with it. There's a huge market for Click LVT. It works. It does a job. But I don't think I could stand in front of someone, trade or retail, and get excited about it. I really don't think I could. Just stick it down. Like, and that's my opinion. It might be right. It might be wrong. But my opinion, and it will probably remain the same. If it was my house, using stick down product, and that's not going to change unless someone brings out a magical thing. And by the time you prepped it and faffed about, I thought we're just like,
well, the prep's the difficult bit. So the bit that we missold it was we were kind of missing from the manufacturers, and from that basis, you look at products like Cortec, which is a brilliant product, and you come across Cortec, and we never had any problems with Cortec. It's brilliant. Shen by Mikado Stroke Headler, good product. The problem was we were misinformed. When it first came out, we were told it was minimum floor prep. I know this because when we launched Emporium for Headlam, I would stand in front of Mercado's sales team and I would say to them, "Oh, it's minimum floor prep," because that's what the manufacturer told us. At that stage, with it being a fairly new product, we hadn't realised that you do need floor prep. Your floor needs to be brought up to standard. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad product. It was just that everybody was so ill-informed, and people like me were going around telling people, "Oh, it's minimum floor prep, don't worry about it." You do need your floor to be prepped. So horses for courses, it's a good product.
Yeah.
It's just by the time you've prepped the floor, we would rather sell them a stick down product because it's down for 10, 15 years and it's so low maintenance.
Yeah.
But there are some great click products out there, Cortec in particular. Amazing product.
I know. I did a independent inspection for a well-known wholesaler, very close to your shop, that had supplied I think it was just an 8mm laminate, and on paper, it looked like a product fairly like crap. I'm going to say crap product. It wasn't crap product, but it looked like a crap product. So it was an 8mm laminate that went down, and the lady had quick step laminate before for 20 years, and then gone into a local retailer and bought a like for like branded product from another wholesaler, and it all felt a bit. So I said, on paper, it looked like that. So I walked in and I'm thinking, right, okay, doesn't look great. But then I noticed how unlevel the floor was. She said, "I've had this quick step floor and it was brilliant." And what had basically happened is the floor had always been unlevel. It had always been not suitable for laminate. It just so happened that the quick step had put up with that and flexed. But if that floor had been flat, which it was far from flat, like it was like a fucking skate ramp, the other product had failed. But it wasn't a product failure because it was crap.
Yeah.
It just, and that's on laminates, that's on 8mm laminates. But then the retailers like, my fitter's been doing it 15 years, I'm like, well, he might have been, but he's not prepped that floor. This is the tolerance for that floor. You are about 20mm out in several different places, and that's why the product's failed, not because it's crap.
Yeah.
It might be not as good as the Quick Step product, like as in strength, but they're both 8mm laminates, and it just shows that like even an educated fitter, a really great shop and a great manufacturer, one little mistake, it's
can do.
and that's even. I think if you sneeze on a Click LVT, it's failed. So.
We had one with Cortec where, again, I'll stress this, it wasn't Cortec's fault. We laid on top of a wood floor, an engineered floor, and long story short, damp, sweat. It was one of those things that 99 times out of 100, you would never have a problem from it. But we just had that one little issue, and it failed the floor. So we had to strip it back and we had to go to it. It's just one of those, and sometimes, from these things going wrong, it's horrible because it's expensive. But it can also shed a light on what a good business you've got. When you react to something so well and somebody's expecting a fight, if you put it right, you'd be amazed how much value that gives you.
Oh, the speed is the best.
Mistakes can make you look so good. Back to a little trick. Do you know Vince Holden or not?
Yes.
Vince is a legend. Vince, I worked with Vince at Solmere. Vince is one of the biggest legends in the trade. Love him to bits. When I worked with Vince, I had a customer who wasn't very keen on me. I was a young lad.
How's that?
Yeah, I wonder why. Young lad, brash, arrogant, and this guy just didn't warm to me. And I remember Vince ringing me one morning going, "Just so you know, I've taken said customer's underlay off the van." He said, "So expect a phone call." I said, "All right." He said, "Come here, load the underlay on, and you're going to deliver it to his shop." So Vincent took his underlay off, so there was a problem, so he could ring him and say, "Hey, Mr. X, this has been missed off the van, but don't worry about it. Paul's going to drop it off for you." In truth, I think I dropped it off and he didn't like me anymore either. Anyway, but the whole process of, and this was Vince's thinking of, hey, if you can be his knight in shining armour, you're going to make yourself look good here. So I think from mistakes, you can sometimes look better off. As it was, he still thought I was a knob, but still, at least he got his underlay.
No, it's I remember, I've said it on the podcast before, but I just remember it so clear. We had this nightmare customer. Everything was a problem. No matter how much you massage a shoulder, they were just a prat. And I can't remember what it was, but I think he found some dust on 2 steps that we'd missed. Like, we're talking like it's 2 inch by 2 inch. And this email come in about dust and this and the other. Sarah got it at 7:15 on a night, and she just jumped in the car with a hoover. She went like right other side of town, knocked on the door 7:15. And she stood there with a hoover and just didn't say a word. She went, oh, it wasn't. Well, you've just sent me
Yeah.
a 2-page thing on dust. I'm here. Let's get it. And she hoovered the 2 steps. Is there anything else? Shut another job's perfect, but just like it squashed it that quick. And he was looking for a fight.
Yeah,
It was like,
sometimes they do.
and it was like she could right back out. Just don't be stupid. We've cleaned it down. But she just turned up with a hoover and just flattened it so quick, and it was like, yeah, get out.
It just back to what you said about some people want to fight. We see this quite a bit. Some people do. Some people are.
Fish. So
But normally there's a backstory to why they want to have a fight. They've had a bad experience somewhere else, or they've been let down, and it's sometimes just thinking, right, okay, we're not the problem.
No.
There's obviously something else going on in their life that is a big problem. So if I can just sort this out for them, then that might just change their mindset a little bit. And I think as long as you don't take it personally and you can do that, yeah, you'll just get on.
yeah, that's what you've got to do. It's just don't take it personally and just be ready to react when it
Yeah.
comes in. But
Mistakes happen. That's the nature of the beast, really. That's especially retail.
yeah, I'm not really selling Bishop Auckland here, but I did used to drink down there on a Saturday night, so it was always an interesting time.
Bishop Auckland is an amazing place.
Yeah.
With a fantastic football club, I think it is.
No, it is. I love it. I wouldn't miss the Northeast though. If you and Richie could employ anyone at all in the world, dead or alive, to come and work with you in the shop, who's it going to be?
I'd say my dad all day long. I'd have to say my dad because he's brilliant and he'd love to do it as well. So my dad now lives in Brecon. He's been retired for. Yeah.
We've got members. Hugo lives in Brecon.
Does he really?
Yes.
So I remember the lovely little carpet chat them too.
But
me,
the dots.
Yeah, he lives down there now, but when he does come up, he always wants to meet at the shop. Can we go to the shop? Could you just have a look around the shop? So yeah, my dad would be great. I've never worked directly with him. We worked for Headlam. My dad was a director for Headlam for years, but I never worked directly with him. Obviously we worked in different parts, so I would have loved the experience to work with him. That would have been nice. But failing me dad, I'd have to say Billy from Solmere, or now retired from Solmere.
No, retired.
Billy's retired, and fingers crossed he's going to come in and do us some part-time, but Billy's just a joy to have around, and he's just an infectious human being. And the most important thing with retail, I think, is being likable. Back to what you said about approaching people, and
yeah,
he's one of those guys who is just so likable. I think he'd be fantastic in retail.
Yeah, that's look after the light little bit. The prices look after themselves.
You were probably looking for something more like Ronaldo or Messi or
we'll take
Marilyn Monroe, but I'll just go for carpet
we're going to go with this next. 3 people you can have a pint with down Bish tonight. Can't be your dad and can't be Billy, but you can have a pint with 3 people tonight. Anyone you want, dead or alive. Who are they going to be?
Who would I have a pint with? Oh. Are we thinking famous people, or are we just thinking general?
You can have anyone else.
I've
got 3.
I'll go more Florin trader, and we'll keep it Florin. So I have to be Richie because he's my partner, so I couldn't have it with Richie. I couldn't miss him out, could I? Danny Bell, love Danny Bell. He's a great lad. So Danny Bell's a rep for Lightwise, Northeast, and we used to work at Headlam together, me and Danny. And I don't know if any other reps are listening to this and they do the same, but the first phone call we'd make in the morning when you got in your car was to each other.
Right.
Are you going today? What's the plan? And blah, blah, blah. And I've Andy and Stu been on your back or anything like that, So there was a great team membership with there. And I'll probably say Jason Kidd as well. I love Jason. Jason's one of my best pals. He was rep for
You've just gone out with the lads. You've got no one famous. You could have anyone in the world and you've gone out with the lads.
I'm trying to keep it Florin based. Go on then. If I go down the famous route, who would I want to go for a pint? Sir Alex Ferguson, you'd have to go for, wouldn't you?
He's been requested before.
Yeah, he'd be fantastic to listen to. And sticking to the football thing, Brian Clough.
Right, yeah.
Brian Clough would be good. Shall I put a woman in there for balance?
You can, sure, yeah. We'll keep it...
keep it clean. No, we'll stay away from the women. We'll just go with them two. Them two will do. Yeah, them two will do. Oh, Bob Mortimer. Love Bob Mortimer. Love Bob Mortimer. Yeah, funniest man in the world.
He was up here the other day. I've seen he was at High Force for some reason. I don't know.
Oh, they do the fishing programme with Paul, doesn't he?
Yes, yeah, that was it. Yeah.
I love Bob. I love 90s humour anyway, so Vic and Bob were like massive, but I love Bob Mortimer.
Proudest moment of your career?
Proudest moment of my career? Hopefully it's still to come. It'd be a bit of an anticlimax as this as if.
Yeah, stand by.
Bloody hell. Proudest moment? Probably recognition from, back in the early days of repping. So my first rep job was Solmere. So I went on the road for Solmere. And in all honesty, like I said about that gentleman who didn't like me, I was probably too young too brash and too naive. And it didn't work. I didn't have the greatest of times at Solmere. There were some good bits in there, but in hindsight and reflection looking back, it wasn't as good as it could have been. But when Solmere changed the way they operated and downsized, I moved up to Headlam, Newcastle, and I work for two of my really good friends now, Stu and Andy, who I love to bits, great lads. I went to work for them, and going from being a struggling rep to fighting the tide with two really strict but fantastic managers and finally getting their approval, that is definitely the proudest moment of my life. Turning the corner and having, positive feedback of two lads who have done everything they can for you, and it's down to you to do the rest, and finally getting them to ring you and respect you and go, yeah, you've done it. And when I came to leave Headlam, Newcastle, Laura cried. Despite the fact I was getting a promotion, Laura cried and didn't want me to go because they'd done that much for me. And it was having praise off two people like that who are proper hard work and the best I've ever worked with, to have their approval and tell me they didn't want me to go, that was tremendous. Like, I must say, that is pride, because they're two people that I rate incredibly highly.
Love that. If you could change your profession completely away from the flooring industry and you had to do it by Friday, what are you going to start looking for?
Football. I couldn't play. I'm terrible. I dedicated my life to it. I'm still rubbish at it. But I wouldn't mind getting involved with something on the football line, whether it would be helping run a club or whatever I could do for a football club, I would. I love football. Always love football. It was my first passion. Like I say, we're supporting on league. So me, Laura, and my little boy Archie, we follow Bishop Auckland home and away. Love being around it. Love the community side of it. Yeah, even if it was voluntary.
I think there's a lesson there. Do what you love.
Massively. Yeah. It's no financial aspiration as such. We've got a nice little life in Bishop Auckland, now a £15,000 house, as you will say. So
there you get a lot in Bishop Auckland. You look
do a big Aldi shop, and you
look like a millionaire in Bishop Auckland. I think I remember there's quite a few customers I've got that like Google house prices in the northeast, and the houses at Walsingham, Bishop Auckland, Hampstead, all come up, and they're like, you can get what for 800 grand? You're like literally like gated entrances with like a swimming pool, and you're like, oh yeah, that's just up the hill from Bishop Auckland. It's lovely, fir tree and all that type of stuff. You can get some serious bricks and mortar.
Beautiful. I sent my dad a house the other day. Actually, I sent him a picture of a house. A friend of mine, customer actually, it turned out to be a friend. He's moving. I sent my dad, oh, look at this bungalow you can get for £500,000, and it's like, it's incredible. It's out of this world. Where down where he is, you look at £1 million house. Yeah, it really is. So the house prices are great, but it's just cold up here, isn't it? That's what he says.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's what he says.
From around here. No, absolutely not. We started deep. We're going to end deep.
Go on.
Paul, what is currently still holding you back? And you can't say nothing.
Probably me. Me. Honestly, me. Yeah, probably my ambition has plateaued from being young and wanting to take it all to kind of getting to an age and thinking, this is brilliant. There's probably my own personal ambition. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I don't ever want to be complacent with the business that we've got, and that's why I'm very lucky to have a younger business partner who's still got a bit of fire in the belly that way. But yeah, probably just myself, and it's a nice place to be content and to not kind of think too much about it after years of being that person who did think loads about it and was constantly blue sky. And I'm very, very happy in my skin. So yeah, I'm not too ambitious really. It's reined it in a bit.
But you're happy being held back in one way.
Yeah, I just love the way things are, and I don't particularly want to change it. And yeah, that's it really.
Love that. For people that want to check you out on social media, what's the website? Where do you lurk and social media?
Where do I lurk on social media? Not outside of schools, that's for sure. Where do I lurk on social media? So Carpet and Flooring to you. Check us out. And yeah, Paul McMaster. I'm not a big Facebook or LinkedIn person, but I'm on there.
So you're on there somewhere. Thank you for coming across, Paul. Really
pleasure. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for having us.
Cheers. The sponsor for this show is us. It's Cockrell & Co. What do Cockrell & Co do? Well, we help flooring shops, retailers, contractors, wholesalers and anyone connected to the flower industry spend more time doing productive things, putting systems and processes in place, making more bottom line profit, and running their business much more efficiently than they ever thought was possible. We run training courses, we have a community of nearly 100 people, and this podcast too. So if you want to know more about what we do, the best place to find us is either on socials, Cockrell & Co, or the website, which is cockrellandco.co.uk. We'd love to speak to you about how your business is going, what your plans are, and how you would love to grow and mature that over time. There is no cost to have a conversation with us on Zoom or on the telephone. We now have a fantastic senior leadership team who can help you with 99.9% problems, and if we can't help you, we will find someone that can. So no matter what flooring business you've got, what help you would need, you just need to ask. That is all. So without the corporate waffle, without the bloke in the shiny suit, but someone that wants to make more money and spend time doing things that you love, we would love to hear from you. Again, visit cockrellandco.co.uk and send us a message, or find us on LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook and Instagram.